It is Halloween and everything is spooky, but you know what is not spooky are the upcoming sports card and non-sports card holiday deals that we see coming. Let's talk about this. Stick around. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. It's another day. It is another card video. Who is ready for Halloween trick-or-treating tonight? All my kids are ready to roll. They've got the costumes. They've got all the stuff. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, but I think that I'm probably going to do an Anchorman pajamas. I've got like a Ron Burgundy pajamas thing that I've worn. It's just an easy thing to throw on, frankly. I'll probably go with that. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, the big red button down below. Also the like button if you do like what you hear. And then also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, and I'm also on Twitter, the SportsCardDad. Shout out to the sponsor of this video, ComC.com, your home for buying, selling, and flipping all the hottest trading cards. Their consignment marketplace is home to over 29 million, almost 30 million cards, from baseball superstars like Aaron Judge to Marvel favorites like Spider-Man. ComC has something for every type of collector. Visit ComC.com today to build your collection with your favorite cards. Guys, it's a fun time. Hit up ComC.com today. All right, I'm going to throw up a picture of a card. Maybe I'll throw up a couple, but one that I just bought a couple of days ago, and I've talked about this. I'm really kind of after one of my little side projects is Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. And really, I'm looking at the Prism products. Specifically, it's Prism and Select are the stuff that I really like from years 2012 for Prism. 2013 was first year for football. Select up through 2018, because I think 2018 is kind of that last year where print runs are fairly decent, especially on the football side. I know on the basketball side with Luka and Trey, we talk a lot about like those print runs were certainly higher than previous years. In football, 2018, it was Baker Mayfield was the number one overall pick. And even with his stuff, there's just not a lot of that out there as well. So football was one of those that didn't have near, I don't think, we don't have the numbers, but if you look at pop reports, they just are not even close to where basketball is. And so 2012 to 2018, I'm really kind of looking at those like Prism color type stuff for those three players. And one that I recently picked up was a color match, 2015 Tom Brady. It's the blue. I believe it's numbered out of 150, blue wave, but numbered stuff as well, because to be honest, guys, going back a couple of years, that got very, very expensive for Tom Brady, especially. Brees and Rodgers have always been a huge fraction of that. I mean, Brees and Rodgers are probably same exact cards are 15 to 20% price point as to what a Tom Brady card is. And that's why I've always enjoyed picking up the Brees and the Rodgers stuff. But Tom Brady is starting to come down in price as well. And that's, to me, that's an opportunity. Now, I want to also just touch on something. I've heard all these, like, and on Twitter as well, you hear about everyone's throwing in their 2 cents on Tom Brady's divorce. And oh man, he picked football over his family. And I did joke about that at the stadium when the Bucs did cheat and beat the Saints when I was there earlier in the year. But in reality, that was just joking with their fans and whatever. I've been through a divorce myself going back to my 20s, and it is not a fun time. And it's just funny to me when it's like, I've lost all respect for Tom Brady. Guys, there's probably a dozen different issues or variables related to their marriage ending. One of them is football. Nobody knows, even though it's a public divorce, it's a very public couple. You don't know the ins and outs of that relationship unless you're in that relationship yourself. So the idea that you are going to kind of lose all respect for somebody when you really don't have a damn clue as to how their relationship worked is kind of looking at the issue it's a very shallow viewpoint of that. And so for him, just being that I've been through one myself, and he's right in the middle of football season. Now, a lot of people say, like, I don't care. Like, I'm not feeling sorry for Tom Brady. He's a multimillionaire. He's got rings. He's probably going to have 1,000 girlfriends here soon. That's fine. And I'm not saying everyone should feel sorry for him, but the idea that you have any sort of idea of who he is or how he is in a relationship or any of that, throw that out the window. It's just a terrible take. And so his card's starting to slip a little bit. Part of that is just the Bucs are struggling, along with a lot. I mean, Rodgers is struggling as well. They just lost to the Bills last night. I think they're 3-5 now. Saints are also 3-5. Brees doesn't play for them, but he's retired and not really relevant. But to me, this is kind of a nice little buying opportunity. And it's just kind of hitting kind of that perfect stride of we're hitting holiday season. We're also hitting kind of, recession-ish type environment where people are just kind of holding pat, not really spending a lot. And then you've got the holidays coming up where there is travel, there's holiday travel, there's, presents to buy and this and that and whatever. It's kind of an expensive time of year. And so if you do have disposable income, there have been, cards that you've been watching for a while. Same thing on the comic book side. Actually, I think Neo Cards and Comics just put out a video today about the golden auction. Comic books took a massive hit. I'm also a collector of graded comics as well. So I'll be looking out for Silver Age and Golden Age stuff. My focus is actually more around DC. And the reason why that is first off, they've got iconic characters with Batman, Superman. The villains are cool with Joker, Riddler, and whatever. But also Marvel's just been so overheated that I think that it's just got room to come down. So not that I don't want the Marvel stuff, but I'll look at it in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road is when I'll really start seriously looking at it. Whereas there's some really cool Golden Age, DC stuff. And now we've got kind of, is it James Gunn, I think is his name, is taking over. He's the guy that does Guardians of the Galaxy. He's taking over the DC universe. So I think they're actually going to put out some pretty decent movies moving forward. That's just a side point. Collectibles as a whole, not as hot as they were. Obviously, you have a stronger dollar. People are looking in other directions. Wait a second, should I be putting my money in other places? A lot of the speculative stuff, people have moved out of that into more of kind of the safe-ish stuff, so they're going back into that. They're putting money back into savings. Cash is king again. Interest rates are going up, and it looks like they will continue to go up for the foreseeable future. Now, maybe that switches out here over the next couple of months, few months, they slow down on raising rates. I don't necessarily think they want mortgages at 10, 11, 12%. I don't think so, but we'll see. But really kind of entering into this holiday season and then heading into next year. Again, I've said it before, I am really, really looking forward to summertime buying and the National. As I said, still buying cards. I'm buying cards every week, but just being very thoughtful as to what I'm doing, but also just thinking the next 12 months, I view it as just kind of, it's going to be a nice buying season. I think a lot of stuff that's been very expensive is going to start moving down. And I think that there's going to be opportunities on stuff that maybe you're like, man, there's probably a time going back a year and a half where you're like, I'll never afford that again. But I think there's going to be items that they come back down to where you're like, oh my gosh, I actually can afford it again. If I put some money away, maybe I can pick this up, and maybe there is some long-term viability value that you see in certain things in that collectible space. So, and cards have been moving down, a lot of cards over the last 18 months, but the next 12 months I think are going to be a real nice kind of buying time. I made a video on it that I think 2023 is going to be kind of the everything kind of like sinks down a little bit, and then 2024 is where maybe we see a little bit of gusto and a little bit of push. I'm not saying, not 2020 push, like to the moon push, but just we start to see kind of some rising for certain things. I think it's actually going to be really nice. I think we've got some really good times ahead. So as opposed to just focusing on, look, I've got cards that I bought for $500 that I can maybe sell for $300 right now. I'm not really as concerned about that, because for certain things, I really like those things long term. I'm holding those long term. And I think now it's no different than buying into any other asset class. It's like, you double down when prices go down if you believe in that thing. That's really what it boils down to. When you look at even just, and I know these are two very separate markets, stock market, but honestly, like with my 401k, with stock purchases, I haven't felt great about it over the last couple of years, because I feel like I have been buying at all-time highs, which we have been buying at all-time highs for a lot of this stuff. When the Dow Jones is sitting at 35,000, 36,000, and you're buying stocks, it's like, yeah, okay, you're in the game, but do you feel great about it? You're buying really high. Whereas a correction, or if there's a recession, as long as we can kind of hold on to our jobs and be able to have some disposable income to invest with, that's when we really, really get ahead. So in collectibles, I don't think it's different in that regard. Obviously, very separate markets. They're not the same, not even close to being the same. But the point is the same sort of mentality of like, if, I don't know, Apple or Tesla or Amazon, if the price of those absolutely tanks, then I'm trying to get as much as I can if I believe in those companies. And so that's where we are, guys. I think holiday season kind of starts kind of a nice buying season. I personally don't think we've seen the floor on a lot of stuff in the collectible space. Really, really rare stuff, the AF-15s and the comic book side. I think they will kind of come down some, but they're always going to have a nice floor to them. Honus Wagners and Mickey Mantles and stuff like that. I mean, maybe they've got some downside, but for the most part, they've got probably a nice juicy floor that'll stick there. Juicy floor? I don't know. I'll just go with that.
I looked into God's eyes, and you know what I saw? The juice weasel. Hey, folks, can you tell me what time it is? Time to juice.
All right, guys, thanks for your time today. Have an amazing week ahead. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and don't forget to check out comc.com today. Talk to you later.